All right, what is up, everybody? Divine Hood here, coming at you with another daily update on Bitcoin and the crypto markets. And guys, we are pumping. Bitcoin is soaring to new all-time highs, and we can get into some levels of resistance or targets for our price discovery to pump up to. First off, let me know, can you guys hear the stream okay? Is the music volume okay? Can you hear this? Can you see the screens okay? Let me know in the chat if everything is good, and then we will get started. First off, let me know, can you guys okay? Okay. Okay, let me know. What's up, Peter? What's up, Machi HK? Good to see you guys. Yes, guys, we are pumping. We are pumping like good. Thank you, Don. I appreciate that comment. And okay, guys, so we are pumping. We are breaking all-time highs. This time, yesterday, we had barely broken our all-time highs just by a few dollars, and we got a little bit of a pullback here. But if you guys watched my videos yesterday, it got quiet because I stopped talking, Don. If you guys watched my videos yesterday, I was looking at this breakout continuing up to new levels of price discovery. So what we're looking for is those levels of price discovery, and how we can find, there's actually many ways to find levels of price discovery on Bitcoin or any asset. And it is really going to be based off a few things. You can use trend-based Fibonacci extinctions, you can use pitchforks, you can use fib channels. There's a few different ways, but my favorite way is to use pitchforks. And I just want to zoom out here. I know I covered this a bunch in yesterday's video. Actually, let's zoom out onto the 3-day time frame. And this pitchfork is going to be a really, really key pitchfork because it was pulled from our last, hold on here. Yeah, this guy here. Okay, it was pulled from our last bull market. And this is the trend of Bitcoin, the larger trend of the bull markets. And you can see it was pulled from the COVID 2020 lows up to our 65K highs and then down to our bear market lows. And you can see how well this overall macro trend has been following this pitchfork. You know, found resistance in the lower band, pushed up to the upper band, had that flat correction here, broke above the band, back tested the band as support. Once we held it and flipped it to support, we pushed up to the midline, dropped from the midline for most of 2024 to backtest that band as support again, and then we pushed up, tried to break above the midline, got above it, stayed above it for a couple months, but then once we lost that midline, you can see here multiple attempts to get back above it in this area. When we finally had that rejection and that bearish catalyst of the Bybit hack, dropped down to new lows, and then of course now we're back up again at the midline. Just a couple months ago, we tried to break the midline. We rejected. We made new range lows a couple times over the last 60 days. And we are pushing up to that midline again, a key resistance. If we can get above this midline, we can go up to much higher levels of price discovery. So let me go ahead and check the chat real quick, see what's up. Okay, loud and clear. Dutch, Mark Dutch, how you doing, man? From dusk till dawn. Mark Dutch is a legend, you guys. This guy is in every single live stream, best moderator in every single live stream. Really on the charts, really focused into the crypto space. And Mark Dutch, thank you for joining the live stream and thank you for being part of this. And yeah, I love Lightning. You guys, on Tuesday, I am sorry about the live stream cutting out. We had a really bad lightning storm and the lightning struck the entire neighborhood. The lightning went out. So I had to wait until it kind of came back up. And I did do a live stream about an hour later that day, maybe an hour and a half later. We covered those altcoins that we were going to cover in the initial live stream and some more altcoins as well. But we're back. Everything's good. And we are rocking and ready to roll. Yeah, amazing how we're not even getting pullbacks to wipe out leverage. Well, preparing for war, we're seeing a breakout, not only of a 60-day range. We were in this range for 63 days. And let me go ahead and zoom in here on the charts. So not the 1 hour. Let's do the 4-hour chart. We were in this range for about 63, 64 days. And now that we are starting to break out of this range here, we are seeing, of course, it's going to continue now that this range is starting to get matured and starting to find which way the market is going to go. So we can expect to see some follow through on this range to the upside. And we have some levels of price discovery, some major targets coming up pretty quickly here. But if we break above like 114.4, 114.3, then I think we're going to go up to 116. And then if we break 116, it's really like 121 to 122. And we can see Bitcoin really start to run here. We could get a pretty big push to the upside. And I'm going to go into that because right now what we're seeing not only on our CVD and open interest charts, but what we're seeing on Market Cipher B and our oscillators down here, it looks really bullish and it looks like Bitcoin could see this continuation push quite a bit further to the upside. I mean, right now you can see this 4-hour candle is a very nice imbalanced candle to the upside, a big push to the upside. No real retracements in this candle yet, and we still have 45 minutes till this candle closes, but our money flow on Market Cipher B, which dictates the overall trend, is rising rapidly to the upside. We got a green dot here on the 4-hour that is going to confirm in 45 minutes, and there is no bear divs on the chart on the 4-hour. You know, we do not have bear divs. You can see NAMI here. Money flow is rising to the upside rapidly. No bear divs confirmed on NAMI on the 4-hour chart. And then to top it all off, the cake that tops it all off, the dressing on the cake is the frosting, or what, icing on the cake, I guess you could say, is what we're seeing right now in our CVD and open interest charts. Now, this is an aggregated open interest. So this is taking the open interest of all the major exchanges around here. Is you can see here, since our lows on July 8th, so a couple days ago, 2 days ago at the beginning of the week, or around the beginning of the week, we are making higher highs in the price action, really parabolic higher highs right now, but our CVD is getting lower and lower and lower. So we are seeing market participants, that's what CVD is active market participants. We are seeing active market participants short the market, but we are not able to make new lows on Bitcoin. And our open interest, this is the key thing here, our aggregated open interest on a majority of the exchanges, our open interest is steadily rising to the upside. So we are seeing really a crazy bullish CVD absorption here at a breakout of the all-time highs. And what this tells me is that this breakout could continue up to much higher levels. Yes, we do have some key resistances just above us where we could at least top out for the day, or we could see some small retracements from these levels. But this is really encouraging to see if you're a Bitcoin bull, this bullish absorption that is happening at all-time highs, along with our very bullish money flow that we're getting on both NAMI and Market Cipher B. This breakout could continue to push to much higher levels. And so I did cover this in yesterday's video, and I covered it in Tuesday's live stream a little bit, is we do have, let's go ahead and zoom out. We'll zoom out to the 12-hour chart. So the key pitchfork midline of our multi-cycle pitchfork. So this pitchfork was pulled from our last bull cycle, bull to bear cycle. And you can see the last time we did come up to this midline, we broke it to the upside. we, for about 2 months, and I was calling this the all-time high range, and this all-time high range, as this range was developing, we were seeing some bearish signals on Market Cipher B as we were developing this range. You know, we were getting at the beginning of the range the higher highs in the price action, and we were making lower highs in the momentum waves, and also our money flow had topped out, and our money flow started draining out of the asset as the range was developing. And then we came up and we swing fail patterned the all-time high. That was a horrible line, but you can see we swing fail patterned the all-time high, giving us a tap 2 of our distribution. And then because our money flow was draining out of the asset, let me just go on to the daily chart. Because our money flow was draining out of the asset consistently as this range was forming, I was expecting overall that this support of the midline that was holding really for months was going to start to get weakened and possibly see a breakdown. Well, you can see what ended up happening is we ended up, let me go back to that. We ended up losing that midline, back testing it multiple times on the daily time frame, and could not get back above it. And once we had that last rejection right here, where that was a Friday when Bybit was hacked, and that was the bearish catalyst needed to kind of give us that big dump and a start of a distribution pattern to the downside. And this all-time high range did distribute to the downside, making new lows, not only of the range, but, you know, coming down all the way to 74K. Well, in this area, we're looking, this 63, 64-day range, we were looking for something similar to happen, because on our Market Cipher B charts here, you can see that something very, very similar is playing out. As we were making those higher highs in the price action, we were developing those bear divs on the daily, but in this area, our money flow was still rising to the upside. So we were waiting for that money flow to top out to really get a dump to the downside and, you know, at least come grab the range lows. Well, once money flow started topping out, those bear divs started playing out. We got our big 3-wave correction to the downside, took our range lows, and since then, we've been pushing up in some impulsive price action to the upside. But our money flow overall on the daily is still draining out of the asset, and there is still a concern that we could see another distribution pattern in this area. Now, I did say that we have not seen a clear tap 2 of our distribution pattern. If we're looking at this original all-time high as a tap 1, we wanted to make a new all-time high to get a tap 2, and then we want to see a retracement and possibly even a push up in another high for a tap 3, you know, and that tap 3 could be a lower high in what we call a Model 2 distribution, where it's like a head and shoulders, or you can look for a Model 1 distribution where you make a third higher high and you have those triple highs, and then it starts to distribute. But what we are seeing today with today's pump to the upside, and if we close this daily candle as bullish as we are pushing it up now, you can see the daily candle looks very, very bullish, almost as bullish as yesterday's candle. Our money flow on Market Cipher B is now curving to the upside here. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't curve to the upside a little bit and then start to roll over, ultimately still draining out of the range, draining as the range forms. That could still be a possibility. And if we're going to expect a distribution pattern, 60 days, 60, 70 days is probably not long enough. This distribution took about 101 days before it broke to the downside. So we could see for the next 10, 15 days, another push to the upside, potentially all the way up to 120, 122K for a tap 2. And then a retrace back down to, you know, maybe the POC of this range, wherever this POC will be. And then a bounce, another bounce up, a tap 3, and then we could see the end of the bull market, or I don't even want to say the end of the bull market. We could see a bigger retracement down to complete a weekly correction before continuing maybe in a super cycle. Now, that is all very, very speculative right now, because this is going to take time to play out. So we will not focus on this. This we need to keep in the back of our mind based off of what we're seeing on high time frames. But for now, Bitcoin is breaking out of the old all-time highs, and you could even say, because yesterday some exchanges made a double top, so we could just put the all-time high back to here. We're breaking out of the all-time high, and we're seeing continuation and strength on lower to intermediate time frames. So I am expecting Bitcoin to continue pushing up to some of these levels of price discovery, some of these targets. One of the targets that we do have is this midline of this key pitchfork that is pulled from the last bull market key swing levels. And you can see that we haven't quite made it up to this midline yet. And this midline is going to be coming in, you know, around 114.2 to 114.4, depending on, you know, how long it takes to get there. but we could see at least a bit of a stall of today's price action. If we come up here, we could see a bit of a stall. If we reject from this area, we're going to want to see that old all-time high kind of being flipped to support, and then we could push our way up to the next level of price discovery. And that next level of resistance in price discovery, if we go on to our pitchfork pulled from this cycle, so let me go ahead and I will show you guys this pitchfork. Now, that last pitchfork we had pulled was pulled from the prior bull cycle. Now, since the bottom of the bull market in bottom of the bear market, excuse me, in 2022, actually, let me just zoom out onto the weekly chart here. Since the bottom of the bear market, we have been in a consistent uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows on the weekly chart. And if we look at our Elliott wave theory, we have a nice 5-wave structure to the upside that did complete in December. And since then, we've kind of been in a sideways correction here. And we could still, this could be an extended 5th wave. So there's a couple possibilities that the 5-wave impulse is not done. But the highest probability was that we had finished the 5th wave here, and then that's why we saw a big multi-month correction. We could be coming up for a B flat before coming down to take the lows of 74K. The point of this is in this big uptrend that we have been seeing for this bull market, this big uptrend we've been seeing the entire bull market, one of the major catalysts was when we broke market structure on the weekly time frame, breaking these weekly highs, not just an SFP of the weekly highs. Actually, let me do this properly. These highs we had here, you can see the first time we came up to them, we had a double top. We rejected on the weekly, came down and made a higher low. But then a couple weeks later, we busted through it with a weekly imbalance candle, a volume candle to the upside. So finally, our first signs of the bear market ending, right? That is our first sign right there that the bear market might be over. This might have been a little bit of accumulation at the bottom here, and now we are starting our bull market. And so once we broke that lower high, that high to the upside, look at what happened here. We flipped it to support, back tested it a couple times, and then we rocketed in our wave 3. Now, this was right around when BlackRock applied for the spot ETF. And then, of course, this whole push up here was when Bitcoin did get approved for the spot ETF and the spot ETF started trading. So a major, major catalyst for Bitcoin. You know, if you're a long-term Bitcoin or a crypto in the crypto sector for a long time, you know that we've been waiting for this for 6 or 7 years. This impulse was a very, very key point of trend shift in the market. This is when the trend started to get really hot. So if you can pull a pitchfork from your wave 2 lows, you know, if we're looking at this as our wave 1, our wave 2, this is your big wave 3 to the upside in your Elliott structure, in your Elliott impulse structure. You're pulling your pitchfork from the lows of wave 2, or the lows of wave 3, or the lows of wave 2 as well, to the highs of wave 3, down to your wave 4 correction lows. And this was our 8-month range that we were in for 2024. That was considered fair value for most of 2024, was within this range. Now, if we're looking for the 5th wave and where the 5th wave could top out, then you're going to pull your pitchfork from the lows of 3 to the highs of 3 to the lows of 4. And when you get to the top of that pitchfork, oftentimes you will see that major rejection. Well, what ended up happening? We got up to the top of the pitchfork, we made a new all-time high, and then we corrected all the way down to the lower band of the pitchfork. And so this pitchfork, since we have created it in 2024, I created this has been on my chart for at least 9 or 10 months. And so if we go ahead now and zoom in on the daily time frame and we look at this pitchfork, you can see here that it has been very, very nicely respected. Very similar to our midline of our multi-cycle pitchfork, which this midline was acting as support for about 2 months in the what I call the all-time high range. If we go back to this cycle's wave 3 pitchfork, you can see the bottom of the band was acting as support for multiple months as well. It's pretty much in the same area. Yes, we had some wicks down below it, but no daily candle closes down below it. Once we started to lose it, we had the back test of it, and then we had the rejection. Now, on that rejection, once we lost our upper band of support, we can expect to make a move down to the midline. We actually busted through the midline This was that Trump tweet that happened where he tweeted about the reserve. We got a quick 3-wave corrective move up in that reserve tweet, and then right away fell right back down. So this was a bit of an anomaly based off of a tweet. This here was a bit of an anomaly based off of a tweet and some hype in the markets. But overall, what happened is we'd lost the midline. You can see we came up once, twice, and then in here, really low time frame, we tested it like 4 or 5 times. But on more macro time frames, on the daily time frame, once, twice, 3 times we had back tested that midline, and we could not get back above that midline. So what happens? You expect to drop down to the next major level of the pitchfork, and guess what? We dropped all the way back down to the next major level of the pitchfork, the bottom of the pitchfork. We had barely front run the bottom of the pitchfork here at the actual lows. But we came back down again, actually hit the pitchfork. Once we actually hit the pitchfork support, you can see we had a very nice impulse to the upside. Actually, overall, it was a 50% impulse to the upside, this impulse in here. But once the key thing that happened is we reclaimed the midline, and you can see once again, oftentimes you reclaim with a big volume imbalance candle, a big push with volume to the upside. So we busted through that midline with a volume imbalance candle, but we had never back tested it to confirm a flip to support in this range. We were in this range for about 2.5 weeks. We never actually back tested it. It overall did act as support, but we never came down to touch it. So we busted up to the upper band. We found some resistance inside the upper band, lost it, bearishly back tested it. Once we bearishly back tested it and confirmed the rejection, guess what happened? We came down and made new lows within our range. We grabbed the liquidity of the range lows. Once grabbing the liquidity, we made another push up, we made a lower high, and then we came down again and grabbed the range lows again. But this time we hit into our pitchfork midline of support that was not hit the last time since we've broken it to the upside. It had not been tested. We tested it to the dollar. We got a very nice bullish reaction. Look at that wick on the bottom of the daily candle. A lot of buyers stepping in here. Very next day, a big bullish engulfing candle, and the trend has continued. What happened from there is we were able to break above the anchored VWAP from the all-time high, back test that anchored VWAP, flip it to support, and now continue to levels of price discovery. So all of this to say that this pitchfork is a very important pitchfork as well. We have a resistance coming up at about 114, and actually let me do this. I don't want to miss this, so I'm going to come in here and we are going to come up and we are just going to put an alert here close to that pitchfork midline, because if we get up there, I want to be ready. So now that we are breaking into new levels of price discovery, yes, we have about 114.3. We have the midline of our multi-cycle pitchfork. We could absolutely stall out there, at least for today. But above that, our next major pitchfork resistance in price discovery is going to be this pitchfork resistance here. And you can see it is going to be coming in around 116.5 to 116.7, depending on how long it takes to get up there. Or I would say 116.5 to 117K, depending on how long it takes to get up here, because it's a dynamic resistance that gets higher and higher as time passes. But here's the thing, guys. We have already tested this pitchfork band once, the last all-time high. We tested the pitchfork band, tried to get above it, lost it, back test, drop. So this band has already been touched as a resistance. Now, that doesn't mean that it can't act as resistance again. It absolutely can. But the upper part of our band has not been tested yet, and you can see we didn't quite get to the upper part of the band in the last all-time high. So if we break 114.3, 114.5, I expect to move a big push up to 116.5 to 117. If we can break 117, I expect to move up to this $121,000 to $122,000 area, where I do think this is our more probable target to pump to, because also 120K is a psychological target, but it's also the top of the band that has not been tested recently. A couple months ago, we tested the lower part of the band. So I do think this time we could break through that resistance now that it's been tested already, and we could push up to our naked resistance up in this area that hasn't been tested in a large majority of time. Yes, obviously the band has been dealt with before. If we zoom out onto the daily, we came all the way up to the top of the pitchfork and rejected from the top of the pitchfork earlier in the year, but the band hasn't been hit in quite a while. So I think we could push up there. Those are the major levels I'm looking at. Okay, let me go ahead and read the chat real quick and see what you guys are saying. Wow, a lot of chats here. Okay, there it was. Amazing how we're not getting callbacks. Yeah, preparing for war. Once we start to go, you know this. Once Bitcoin starts to go, it goes. Tino, is Tino in here? I think that's a Trader's Reality. He's awesome. Hey, it's 4 a.m. here. Oh, Jacob, thank you for joining, man. 4 a.m. Wow. Dude, I hope you're getting some sleep, though. Definitely want to get some sleep so you're on top of your game for the trades. And TXRX0101, thank you for that kind comment, man. I really appreciate that. Jacob, you're the one who won the $500 giveaway with Andy. Well, I'll tell you what, Andy's a great trader, and I really appreciate him shouting me out. If any of you guys are here from Andy's stream, welcome in. Andy is a great trader. Followed that guy for years. He's one of the actual real traders in the space, and I appreciate him shouting me out. Okay, I've seen 123 come up in my charts for the past several months. Yeah, that is about in this general area, and depending on time-wise, like if it takes us a few weeks to get up there, not a few weeks, a couple weeks, maybe a week to 2 weeks, it's going to be about 123. OI on perps is about $1 trillion. Wow. That's a lot of open interest there. That means that we could see some heavy volatility and some squeezes to the downside as well. If a lot of people are longing this breakout and then they get trapped underwater and we see that much open interest trapped, we could get a big long squeeze down. Darren does things. I needed a short break and broke a month ago. Okay. Awesome. What's up, Darren does things? It's good to see you, man. I think I've heard your name in other chats. I think Frankie's streams. I don't get to catch Frankie's streams a lot because of when he streams, but welcome in, man. Welcome in. Yeah, aggregated is awesome. I also have aggregated buy sell volume on TradingView. Oh, that's awesome. Aggregated buy sell volume. Preparing for, maybe you can send me that where that's at, or just the screenshot of that and send it to me in Discord. Okay, we'll talk about it at some point. Live Indian traders getting wrecked, early shorting. Guys, here's the thing. You do not want to short a mega pump until you see a sign of weakness. We have not seen any signs of weakness locally. Like, even if we zoom in onto the 24-minute, 15-minute, we are not seeing any signs of weakness here. Now we are finally starting to get some bear divs here, higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum waves, and our money flow is topped out and is now making some bear divs on money flow. This is our first sign of weakness here, where we could see a pullback, a little bit of a pullback, but I expect us to continue because of our more intermediate time frames, like the 4-hour looking so bullish. I expect us to continue up to those major targets. Could we stall out here? Yes, we could, but usually when you see lower time frame bear divs like this, you'll get a little bit of a pullback and then the trend will continue. And you guys can also see that our VWAP now for the day, which often acts as support and resistance in a trending day, the VWAP is where our prior all-time high was. So if we are going to continue in this trend, yes, maybe we do see a drop down to the VWAP, bounce from that VWAP and continue up to 114K, 116K, or 121K. Black Swan, you know what, Darren does things. I could agree with that. The market is getting a little bit euphoric right now, and I do think we could see a bit of a Black Swan coming in. Yeah, Indians, not traders, gamblers. Yep. I think daily money flow is coming back up now. Yeah, and so Machi AKK, I just covered that. The daily money flow is coming back up. What we need to be aware of is if it's going to be another like ebb and flow in the money flow where it just rises a little bit, but overall makes a lower high. You know, like we did see that in our prior range here where money flow was dropping to the downside. It rose up a little bit here and then dropped back down a few days later. We got a bit of a push up from that drop. but overall the trend kept draining out of the asset. So we could absolutely see something like that where we get another lower high on money flow. And what that would do actually, Machi HK, is it would give us bear dibs on the money flow. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the money flow. And that would give us not only our momentum bear dibs, but our money flow bear dibs as well, which is a double confirmation of a high time frame bearish signal. So be aware that that could happen. But guys, let's just look at this. Like, you see how we hit into this band here. We bounced from the midline. Is it probable that we're not going to come up to this upper band? To me, no, it's not. I mean, to me, it looks like we're going to make another run at this upper band and probably the top of the band. That would give us those nice symmetrical bear divs here. And then this money flow could top out a bit early, giving us that bear divs on money flow, bear divs on momentum, momentum, then money flow. And that could be a potential swing short opportunity, even if it's just going to drop back down to the POC of our range. If we just look at that range here, and of course that POC would change as this range is still developing, but say we, push all the way up to this midline or this band of resistance, and your POC is still going to be down at like 105K, or maybe it moves up to 106K where your anchored VWAP is, to see something like this push up to here, get a rejection from 120K all the way down to 106K, that is still a good swing short right there. And then you're going to bounce and continue and continue. And, we could top out the bull market at the top of this pitchfork again, just like we did last time. So 150K, 145K, somewhere around there. And that's a key psychological number as well. Okay, let's talk about one more high time frame thing that I want to talk about. So I have one more trend. Let me finish reading the chat real quick here. You guys are going so quick that I can't keep up with all of this. Lou Don Kuhn's trading investment mods in crypto space. Yeah, Coons is a great trader as well, and Coons has some great live streams. Sudeep, welcome in. Thank you for joining. It's good to see you. Tomorrow should be interesting, Don. I do agree. We will, MJ25, we will cover XRP. XRP is breaking some very, very key levels of resistance, and actually on low time frames, even flipping them to support. So we will absolutely cover them, okay? Oh, I see. Mark Dutch, Tino has the best mods in the crypto space. Coons has the best mods in the crypto space. Andy has the best mods in the crypto space. Well, what's the common denominator? Mark Dutch is the common denominator. That's why they have the best mods, is because Mark Dutch is there. Nonsense, what's up, man? Good to see you in here. Lucky Jim Bob, how you doing? Happy all-time high is right. Yes. Okay, guys. So let me now, while we're here, it looks like Bitcoin's getting a little bit of a retrace here. Let's see. Yeah, a little bit of a retrace here. I'm actually interested to see what happens when we take this little low right there, and if we continue to push up. Okay, yeah, money flow starting to come back up again on the 6 minute. I think that we could take that little low and continue the trend. We'll see what happens. We just did print a hidden bull div signal on NAMI, and these hidden bull div signals are pretty powerful. Let's go to the 30-minute chart real quick. Come on, Market Cipher. Yeah, looks like money flow is starting to try to curve up again. I would say that we are going to continue a little bit higher, guys. Not guaranteed, but let's see what happens here. Okay, so now I want to zoom out. And I want to talk about, actually, let's go on to the 3-day chart. And let me go to my Coinbase chart. By the way, guys, real quick, I'm going to cover this before we go into that trend. We have been following this bearish pitchfork on Bitcoin since our prior all-time high. And you can see I've been covering this in a lot of my YouTube videos. So if you've watched any of my YouTube videos, the past month or so, you've seen this pitchfork, but it was pulled from the all-time high down to the first time we took our range low liquidity up to our lower high. And we were chopping around the midline for a bit, pushed up to the band, rejected from the band, chopped around the midline, finding it as resistance. We found a quick pump up to the anchored VWAP, rejected anchored VWAP, band, lower high from the band, dropped deviated the pitchfork, got back above it, busted, rejected from the band, and then flipped it back into support, confirming re-entry back into the pitchfork. Once we re-entered the pitchfork, we busted above the midline, back tested it as resistance, pushed up to the upper band. The upper band was acting as resistance for a couple weeks here, really trying to get above it. We couldn't. We came down and took our range lows one more time of our 12-day range, 14-day range. Then we busted above it up to the top, rejected the top, held the upper band, rejected the top, held the upper band, and then now today we're seeing that breakout. Actually, it was yesterday. We saw the breakout of this pitchfork with a nice volume push to the upside. And this told me that it was a true breakout to the upside and that Bitcoin was most likely to continue breaking out of this bearish structure. This was a bearish structure that we had been in, and now the bear trend is possibly ending and we are going to see follow through to the upside. So what I am looking at now that we broke out of this pitchfork, we're not really going to be paying attention. I'm going to leave it on the chart for a little bit while longer because we could see this rejection from 114.3, come back to back test that area, and then if you flip that to support, then continuation up to 116, continuation up to 121. But let's go ahead and come in here. Let's turn off this pitchfork and let me go into our Fibonacci channel. So I want to show you this channel because this channel was pulled from the very, very beginning of the bull market. I've had this channel on my chart for at least 2 years. And back when we hit the 1.618 in September of 2024 or March of 2024, I shorted this based off of this fib channel. So let's go ahead and go into this fib channel, because if we look at our entire bullish structure of the entire bull market, you can see here our entire bullish structure has been really, really well respected here. And when I developed this channel was right after we made this low. Right after we made this low, I put this channel on the chart. So what I had originally, if we go into this, let me turn off this and let's turn on this. This was the original channel. Now this is on log scale. You have to make sure you're on log scale to account for these large fluctuations in price on higher time frames. But we had our bear market lows. We broke our structure on the weekly time frame, right? We finally broke it right here, broke it to the upside. We came up, we made a new high, and then we started to reject. And we came back to back test what used to be resistance now as support, and we bounced from there. But this was a flat correction. We came up, we took the highs, and then we came down and took the lows of this range, of this sideways range here. So let me get rid of some of that stuff to clear that up for you guys. So you can see this range here, we came down, flat range, came up, took the highs of the range, then came down, took the lows of the range, and then continued the trend. But with this range that formed after breaking market structure bullishly, we had some key things that we could look at on the chart. Now we had our low pivot, we had our high pivot, and then we had our third low pivot that we needed. And from that, you develop your channel of your bullish price action, right? This is your bullish market structure. And this market structure was the market structure we needed to pay attention to for the more macro bull market that was starting. Well, you can see here what happened here was very, very important, because here is when BlackRock applied for the ETF, the spot ETF. Once it applied, everyone knew that BlackRock was going to get it. We broke this range to the upside. Once we broke the range, you can see we flipped the midline to support, and this was like 2 weeks. We continued to range in this small ascending channel in the 30s for about, actually it was like 6 weeks, I think it was, or something like that. Let's zoom in a little bit here on the daily time frame. Bear with me, guys. I guess got to get in here. So you can see we broke above the midline. We held the midline as support through this range here, and then we busted up to the top of the channel. Now, in this area right here, I'm going to zoom back out onto the 3-day chart, but this was really, really important on what happened. On the 3-day chart, if we look at that not only was this the top of the channel, right here, this was the top of the channel of a channel that had been highly respected on macro timeframes for the entire bull market. But if we pull a Fibonacci from our prior all-time high, a last cycle's all-time high, down to the bear market lows, and we look at where was our macro golden pocket, because if you guys know anything how Bitcoin reacted, Usually when we came up and hit the macro golden pocket, we would see about a 40% dump. The halving would happen, and then we would break that golden pocket and continue. This time it was a little bit different, but it was the top of our channel and our macro golden pocket. And I remember that was literally like a days after the spot ETF got listed. Everyone was calling for a 10K God candle to the upside, and I actually was saying we're probably going to see a 10K dump to the downside, and we actually did get that. That was in Jason Casper's Discord. If any of you guys were around back then, you guys were very familiar, but we got a $10,600 dump to the downside, and we rejected from the top of the channel, but we came down to the midline. We held the midline, and because we held this midline, it was looking really, really good for continuation to the upside. We also knew that we could be in a wave 3 of a big macro Elliott impulse. Came up to the top of the channel again, saw a little bit of resistance for about a week, and then we broke it to the upside. Now, here's the key thing. Once you break this channel to the upside, you're going to say, whoa, okay, this channel's broken to the upside, but I can turn on the fib extinctions for this channel, because this is just your high, your low of the channel, your midline, but there's extinctions to the upside and there's extinctions to the downside, and those are based off Fibonacci levels, the Fibonacci ratio. So you can come in and you grab your Fibonacci channel. So we change it from a parallel channel to a Fibonacci channel. The pink lines are the original top and bottom, and this white line is the original midline. You can see it's the same exact channel, pulled from the low to the high to the low. Once we broke the channel to the upside, the 1.618, which we know the golden pocket, the 618, is a very, very key psychological level that is found in all of nature, found in our psyches. We came up and we hit that 1.618 at 74K. I was looking for swing shorts up here, and I did short it up here, and I held on to that short until we came down to back test our channel, the breakout of the channel, because if you do break out of a channel like that, now you're going to be looking to flip it to support. So we came down, we back tested the channel, and we got actually a really nice bounce, and I thought we might make our way up to hit it again. We never did. We made a lower high, and then we continued. We broke back within the channel, back tested the channel, rejected, came down to the midline. The midline overall held. We did see a little bit of deviation below it, but overall held, and then we busted out of the channel again. You can see once we busted out of the channel, this is that all-time high range from November to February of this year. And we tried to hold it a couple times, one time, two times, we back tested it. But then when we lost it, we came down to the midline, held the midline, and now guess where we're at again. The top of the channel is where we got rejected. This is our bull market trend, the entire bull market. Earlier this year, we got rejected with our prior all-time high at the top of the channel. So now let's go ahead and zoom in and let's see where the top of this channel is again, because if we reject from the top of this channel, that is going to be another key area where we could reject and continue this trend. Now, if we lose the base of this channel, bull market's over. We're gonna really start to dump here. It's a possibility, not a guarantee. I should say it's a high probability that if we lose this, because that has been our trend for the entire bull market. So now let's zoom in onto the 6-hour time frame. Let's go ahead and look at where is the top of this channel. Well, the top of the channel, depending on time, is going to be around that 120K area, because it is going to take us some time to get up there. So 119, 120K. So what I'm trying to say is this 120 to 122 is a very, very key level of resistance. That is a more macro resistance, being the top of the pitchfork band and our macro fib channel up in that area. And I do think that this pump could continue all the way up here with a small rejection at 114.3. Maybe we come back down to back test the range highs of this range. So let's go ahead and actually pull that range. We can pull this range. Maybe we're going to reject that. This is all pure speculation right now, but if we continue up to 114.3, we reject from 114.3, we'll look for a back test of that value area high. If we hold that value area high, we're going to look for a push up to 117, which is 116, 117, which is where the bottom of the pitchfork band is. And then we might see a small rejection, back testing these highs, back testing our big midline, right? Our big multi-cycle midline. If we flip that big multi-cycle midline to support, then we're continuing up to 120, 122. And that is where we could see some major resistance coming in. So I'm just getting you guys prepared for the possibilities of starting to plan your swing short trades. Obviously, we're not just going to set limits there and hope it happens. as we're coming up there, we're going to look at our charts, we're going to look at our open interest, we're going to look at everything, and we're going to see if we have bearish confirmations to enter. We're not just going to set a limit and hope that it happens. But those, if you start to plan out these levels of price discovery resistances, then at least as we're coming up to them, you know, okay, this could be a major top opportunity to get into a hedge swing short that pays against your spot portfolio as a hedge, you know, and that would be a great thing to short the top of the bull market, or to short the top of a big multi-month retrace to the downside. Okay, let me check the chat here again, catch up on this. Did I already order my Lambo? ZMX, we talked about that. It's gold, remember? It's a gold Lambo. No, but just kidding. I have not ordered any Lambos. Don't tell my wife. Oh my gosh. Oh, you don't have a wife. Okay. Curtis J, what's up, man? Thank you, man. I am glad you love the live streams. Cow. Okay, we'll go into XRP and Cow in just a second here. And yes, guys, if you got anything out of this video so far, if you've learned anything, would you please hit the like button? Just helps me grow, helps me get out there with the algorithm. So if you wouldn't mind, or if you got anything out of that, that would be appreciated. Also, guys, I do have a couple sponsors of the channel. BYDFI is a KYC free exchange and a VPN free exchange. All you need is an email and a password to sign up. Right now, they're offering a 50% deposit bonus. If you just deposit $100 in the account, you get a $50 deposit bonus. And then, of course, they're offering various 10 to 20% deposit bonuses depending on how much you deposit here. All the way till July 14th, this campaign is going. But also, I have some very exciting news coming up with BYDFI here. We are going to be doing we're going to be partnering with a Telegram group together, and I will share more details on that probably tomorrow at the start of next week. Also, BYDFI is offering up to $8,100 in futures trading bonuses, depending on how much volume you trade in your futures trading markets. And if you use my affiliate link, you'll get a minimum of a 17% discount on trading fees, but the more you deposit, the higher your trading fees can get, up to like a 40% discount on trading fees. So link is in the description if you're interested in BYDFI. It's a way to help out the channel. It's a win-win for both of us because you guys get discounts on the trading fees, you guys get deposit bonuses, trading bonuses, and it's affiliate link, so it helps the channel a little bit as well. Second, we do have NAMI. NAMI is this momentum and money flow indicator here. It is great for entry and exit confirmations on trades. It does show you bear and bull divs, hidden bear, hidden bull divs. I love it. I use it in Confluence with Market Cipher, and it really helps me get in and out of trades properly. And they're running a 50% off special for a limited time. The discount code is in the description, and the affiliate link is in the description. So if you're interested in signing up, that 50% discount code is a pretty good discount code, and Divine50 is the discount code if you guys are interested. That's in the description. And then lastly, we do have MEXC, and MEXC is offering 10% cash back on your initial deposit. And they just started this new pump fund launchpad. So they are doing a new launchpad. Oh, let me go ahead and make this bigger here. And it's a new launchpad where you can get a 40% discount if you sign up for the launchpad here. You can get a 40% discount on some of the token sales that are going on. And there's also, let me see here, what else was there with them? Yeah, you just get you can get free tokens and stuff like that. So that link is in the description, or if you just want to sign up and just regular trade on the exchange, that link is in the description as well. Okay, back to the TA, and let's go ahead right now while Bitcoin, first of all, let me set some alerts on Bitcoin here, and then we've got an alert just above us, and I'll put an alert right down near the VWAP here, and we'll go into some of the altcoins. So first we'll go into XRP because MJ25 asked about XRP, and then we'll cover Ethereum. We can cover if you guys have any altcoins you want me to cover, just put it in the description and I'll try to get to them as many as possible. Please be courteous and don't put like 50 of them in there because it's really hard to cover all those. But let me clean up this chart a little bit. I had some levels turned on. All right, so what I want to talk about with XRP, and the main thing to look at with XRP, we're just going to zoom out and we're going to look at the higher time frames first on XRP. XRP got this gigantic pump you know, 600, 700% pump to the upside. And since that November or December, early December, late November, we've been ranging sideways for about 7 months now. We've been ranging sideways here. But we were ranging at the very beginning of this. If I go ahead and come in here and let's turn off that big range. And you can see I formed this descending channel. And this descending channel has been on my chart for months as well. So it was from the all-time high to this lower high that happened right here. And then I had pulled it initially down to the range lows of, I think, yeah, it was down, these range lows down here. And we were trading within the channel, or no, it wasn't those lows. Hold on. It was, I believe it was these, it was before this big wick. This big wick was the early February wick. So I think it was this guy here, something like that. Anyways, it was the channel was changed originally, but once we got that big flash crash the first week of February, I moved the bottom of the channel to those lows of the flash crash because we took the liquidity of our lows. We took the liquidity and we pushed back up. Since then, this channel has been on the chart and we have been following this overall corrective trend. So we've been correcting sideways, but really sideways and down kind of. But what ended up happening that was really, really important is we came down and we hit our macro 382. Now, the 382 acts as strong support or resistance in a strong trend. We had a perfect bounce from our macro log 382, telling me that the XRP overall, this is a corrective range and that we are going to see a breakout and continuation up to new levels of price discovery on XRP. So anytime we'd come to some range lows, I was buying. I told you guys I bought some XRP. I bought some at like 220, somewhere in this area down here. And then I bought some more when we came down to that $2 area just very, very recently here. But XRP has been trending sideways for 7 months. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off our small channel. And I'm going to turn on that large range again. And what happened is XRP, after bouncing from our 382, we made a move through our volume profile. You can see we re-entered the volume profile and the channel midline, back tested the channel midline and the value area low, and then we worked our way up to the value area high, which was also the top of the channel. There was also a weekly level up there. There was something else up there. There was multiple levels of resistance in this area. And if you go back to, I guess, the May 10th, 11th, 12th or so, go watch my videos from then. I was calling for a rejection from here, and I was also saying that we would get up there before it happened. And we did reject from the top of the channel. We did reject from the value area high. Once we saw that rejection, we were expecting to drop at least to the point of control. Sorry, guys, I always do that. Let me get rid of these brushes. So we were expecting a drop to the point of control. We dropped below the point of control, back tested it a couple times. It was in close confluence with the anchored VWAP from the all-time high. So that was our trend. You know, if you're below it, you can expect a little bit of weakness and maybe continuation of a more local trend. Our more local trend had started to the downside. And we did reject from the POC. We did reject from the anchor VWAP. We continued down to the value area low. Now, we hit the value area low. We longed this as well. If you guys were in the Casper Crew Discord with me, we longed this. We got to push up, taking out your local highs, which would have been a take profit, at least for a TP1. But overall, we did make continuing in lower lows, lower highs, and then we dropped again, and we dropped down. And this, I believe this was our golden pocket. If we take a golden pocket from the range lows up to those lower highs, it was the general golden pocket area. You can see we wicked a little bit past it, but that was your golden pocket. So we bounced from our golden pocket, and then we pushed up, and this was the key thing, because this golden pocket was below the value area low. It was below our value area low. And if you're below your value area low and you would have come up and rejected it, then we would have expected to come down to the midline or expected to come take out these lows. But we didn't. We were able to break back inside the volume profile, and look at this break back inside the volume profile. Once again, a nice big volume supported imbalance candle. So we broke back inside the value area, showing that this was a deviation of the value area, the fair value for XRP, and the XRP wanted to continue to trade within the fair value, this zone here. Well, we pushed up, we broke above it. We back tested it as support, because in a healthy market, you'll always back test those as support. We back tested it as support, and since then, we had pushed up a couple times. Now, there was a naked monthly point of control that was at 234. If you guys go watch my videos of the last 3 weeks, it was very frustrating because we had front run it. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Well, just early last week, we came up, hit the top of the channel and hit that naked monthly point of control. I actually did take a short from there, and after a TP1, I got stopped out, but it was still a winning trade. And now what is happening, guys? What happened yesterday? We broke out of our 7-month-long descending channel trend. And you can see we broke it with a volume increase to the upside. If we go ahead and come in here, we turn on our volume. We're gonna have to zoom in on lower time frames to see the big spike in volume. But as we broke out of that channel, we saw a pretty big spike in volume to the upside. Not as big as the rejection on the naked monthly point of control, but it was a nice increase in volume, especially more locally. And we broke that to the upside. Let me turn this off now and clean this up. Broke it to the upside. We came to our point of control. So MJ25, this is the very, very important part. This anchored VWAP is the anchored VWAP from the all-time high, and this point of control is considered the fair value of the asset over the last 7 months. And if we would have come up here, I did have a TP level up here. I did long earlier. I can't remember exactly where, 218 or something like that. And this was the area where if we would have came up to that point of control and rejected it, then we could have expected maybe another rotation down, at least to your golden pocket, pulled from the lows, you know, lows to the highs. Golden pocket was in confluence with this guy here. We might have came down here, but what ended up happening is we busted through it. And then earlier today, busted through it, back tested it as support. And now look at what's happening. We're rocketing. And we can continue to push up here. Also, if we turn on some of our levels, I do believe we had a weekly level and a daily level at 234, 243, 242. You can see what ended up happening earlier. 15-minute chart. We were able to, first it was acting as resistance for a bit. So we chopped between the weekly and our point of control, busted above it, back tested it locally just today as support. Tested it again. Oops. Tested it again as support. Why do I keep doing that? Dang it. And now we're pushing up. So what I am seeing now is massive strength on XRP, because not only were we able to break above the point of control and today backtest that point of control and flip it to support here, but we broke above the weekly and the daily and we flipped those to support, and we're continuing up. So if we're looking at the overall picture of XRP, XRP now has, after breaking below the value area low, we busted back inside the value area, we back tested the value area, we pushed up to the POC, but now we're breaking the POC, and you can see we're in a parabolic trend here. So we can expect, and this does look very impulsive to me. Let me clean this chart up here. This looks very impulsive to me. We could push at least up to the value area high of the range at 256. Well, let's see if we have any other confluence up there. Do we have any weeklies up there? No, we don't. Do we have any dailies up there? Well, we have a daily very close by at 258. Okay, what else is up there? Let me go ahead and actually just come in here and hide some of these dailies. Okay, 258, there we go. So we have our daily at 258. Do we have any monthly levels up there? No, we do not. Do we have any naked daily points of control? No, we do not. Do we have any naked weekly points of control? Well, we have a naked weekly point of control right on that value area high. So now we are starting to develop some confluence. Do we have any naked monthlies? No, we don't. So the next level, we don't really have anything. We have this liquidity grab right here, this internal high liquidity grab, but you can see we've already failed the SFP of that. We're pushing through it, no SFP. So that is out of the question. So there is nothing keeping from XRP pumping to 256 to 258. Our next level of resistance on XRP, if you break the value area high, the point of control of the range, you can expect to move up to the value area high. Well, we also have confluence with a fresh daily and a fresh naked weekly point of control, 256 to 258. And actually, let me just check my exchange here to make sure I have a TP there, because I plan to TP some more there no matter what happens. That is a resistance level where we could expect a pullback. Doesn't mean that we're not going to continue pumping to new all-time highs. I think XRP is about to see a much bigger breakout of our 7-month trend, and we could do this, backtest point of control, and then rocket up to 310, rocket up to much higher levels. So I think XRP is looking really strong. It looks good, but I will be looking to take some profit at that. Let me just make sure, 56... okay, There we go. All right. And so XRP overall looks pretty good. If we zoom out onto our daily chart, money flow is about to cross over up into the green on the daily chart. NAMI's money flow is very nice and bullish in the green. We do not see any bear divs on the chart. If we zoom out to our weekly chart, this is what's really, really nice to see. NAMI printed a hidden bull div signal on the weekly, and our money flow on Market Cipher B on the weekly is starting to go parabolic here. I do think XRP could see a nice big breakout and push to the upside. I don't know why the channel did that, like why it's now up here on the weekly. It's a bug that TradingView has. Anyways, so we're breaking out of our bigger trend. Let me hide this. Breaking out of our bigger trend, breaking our anchored VWAP, breaking our point of control to the upside. We're seeing a parabolic move here. And if we look at this as from our lows here, we could be looking at all of this as a wave 1. Well, your wave 2 often retraces to the golden pocket. That's where we retrace to right here. So wave 2, and now we could be in a parabolic wave 3 that could bring us all the way up to new all-time highs without any significant real retrace. Yes, you could see small retraces, small retraces, small retraces, small retraces. Your wave 3 could bring you to take out new all-time highs. Then you could see a bigger 4 that lasts a month or 2, and then another 5, maybe all the way up to new levels of price discovery. And we can look at that. We'll look at new levels of price discovery, and we'll do that in the next stream. If you guys, MJ25, if you remember to ask me, because we're not going to do it, you know, today or tomorrow, but if you ask me about that, I will pull some pitchforks and we can look at some price discovery levels on XRP. But we'll play level to level. As traders, we play level to level. So XRP is looking pretty good, and you can see that we do have our resistance is coming up soon, but we have a clear shot to that resistance. I expect us to keep pushing up to 256 to 258, where the value area high of our range is. We have a naked weekly point of control, and we have a fresh daily level up there. Now, if we break that value area high, and we're breaking the value area high is considered the overvalued range for this asset. So for the past 7 months, the XRP price, fair value, overvalued is about 256. Fair value is about 240, 241. Undervalued is considered 207, 206. Now, what was considered fair value now, we can see that buyers are willing to still buy even though we're above fair value. So if we get to the overvalued portion, but they still are bullish on it and we flip it to support, now what used to be considered overvalued is going to be considered acceptable to buy, and then we're going to break up to new levels and your next major resistance. You know, this box right here is going to be a major resistance. This box of resistance is between 302 and 311. We have a fresh weekly up there. We have the value area low of a very small range. The value area low, it was of this range here before we broke this range down. We have a 786 Fibonacci pull up there. We have a naked daily, a naked weekly, and we have the key SFP of these lower highs, these internal lower highs. So that is going to be the key part, because this is a key lower high for one reason. You can see when we came up here, nice big volume imbalance candle to the upside, nice big push to the upside, made highs, and then we recovered that whole imbalance the very next candle. Pretty much all the imbalance was pretty much covered, but because of that, there was a lot of liquidity that was left above this area, with a big imbalance candle to the upside followed by a big imbalance candle to the downside. So that is going to have key liquidity resting above those highs. Well, what is right above those highs? Our next major resistance zone, right? And so if we break 256 to 258, yes, there is going to be some other targets in between there, you know, other levels of resistance. We can just turn on our levels and we can see if there's anything there. You know, we do have a weekly that is going to be at 293, but our main levels of resistance are in this box: weekly level, monthly level, naked weekly, naked daily, naked monthly, SFP. I mean, this is our major area of resistance, 302 to 311. And if we break this here, then guess what? There is really nothing. There's a liquidity grab of our second pivot of the channel. And by the way, I'll talk about that in just a second at 265.7. But in between there, all of this is an imbalance, a fair value gap that has been left. And if we turn on our fair value gaps, I'm sure that that is going to fill as a fair value gap there. If it goes back that far, it might not go back that far in the charts. But we have that imbalance there that could be recovered quickly. You know, quick move up means quick move down. And if we, you know, in here, there's not a lot of resistance to keep us from just shooting through all of this area. Okay, let's go ahead and turn off these levels so we can make the chart clean again. Guys, trading with a clean chart is very, very important. It helps you not have analysis from over-analyzing, paralysis from over-analysis. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, so let me go back to real quick. Anytime you're in a descending channel like this or an ascending channel and you have your bearish trend, right? This was our bearish trend, this descending channel. Well, anytime you break a channel to the upside, you at least, for the most part, come up and grab the liquidity of the second pivot of the channel. Now, I know that I said the second pivot of the channel was up here, but that this is considered the major second pivot of the channel. So we have a high probability to at least come sweep the liquidity of these highs. But oftentimes in channels, especially lower time frame channels, say you have a descending channel here where you're grinding down within that channel and then you hit a bottom and you break out of it, back test it. Oftentimes you will come sweep. This is a liquidity trail that's been left there. And oftentimes you will sweep the liquidity of the entire channel, taking out the highs of where that descending channel started. So, you know, we have our big descending channel here. If we break it to the upside, oftentimes you might do this, come back for a bullish backtest, and then you have your big third wave, by the way, that sweeps all the way up through the highs. So we could see some major explosion on XRP soon. And of course, this is going to be contingent on Bitcoin actually holding up and not nuking to the downside. But XRP looks like it could run really nicely here. And we are breaking a 7-month trend, breaking the POC, breaking the anchored VWAP, and coming up to our value area high. It just looks really good to me. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. I spent a lot of time on that. Let me go ahead and check. Oh, Andy's in here. What's up, Andy? Hey, Andy, I appreciate you so much for shouting me out in your stream, man. You guys, to me, Andy is one of the legit real traders in the space who actually understands risk management, who actually understands asymmetric risk reward. He is an amazing guy. And Andy, I just want to say thank you for shouting me out. And you're a super kind dude, and thank you for all you do for your community and for going live so much. And, you know, I really enjoy your streams as well. I hope you're still in here too, because I didn't realize you were in the chat. All right. And we'll look at Cow. Can you zoom out, bro? Are you talking, zoom out on what? Rishab Gurath? I'm sorry, I know I butchered that name, but you want to see the pitchfork? At least on XRP, there is no pitchfork I have yet, but Sui has been pumping like crazy. Yes, Ludong, I'll cover Sui in just a second here, but Sui, we are going to see probably continuation of follow through. So, you know, on Sui, we had our nice daily 5-wave impulse to the upside. After that completed, we were looking for a correction. And let me go ahead and get rid of some of this stuff here on the charts. After Sui completed that 5-wave impulse, if this is the start of a wave 1 after seeing a big retrace here, then we're looking for your wave 2. Where's the most common area for it to retrace to? Well, the golden pocket, right? And so if we pull a Fibonacci from the lows of the impulse to the highs of the impulse, and we put it on log scale because that's more than 100% move to the upside, look at where our look at where we ended. Golden pocket. Hit into the golden pocket. It was also the POC of our major range. Hit into there. I bought some spot right here, by the way. I did buy spot and I did long here. Now I got out of my long a little bit earlier. I'm not in that long anymore. But we are now pushing to the upside, and we were forming a nice ascending channel. Let me get rid of that. We were forming a nice little ascending channel over the past, you know, few days here. And I did talk about in my YouTube video yesterday, if we break this trend to the downside, then we're probably going to come down much, much lower, even making new lows below this low. But if we can continue to maintain this trend, this lower intraday trend, or, you know, intra-week trend, then we're going to break out. And we do have some resistance coming up on Sui. We have our lower high liquidity level into our lower high golden pocket. So if you pull a golden pocket from the highs of the correction to the lows of the correction, that golden pocket could give us a little bit of a daily pullback, I would say, like an intraday pullback. But if this is going to be a bigger, let's just zoom back out onto the daily. If this is going to be a bigger wave 1, this is a wave 2, then we expect a wave 3 to continue breaking above all-time highs and continue, you know, pushing to much higher levels. So SUI looks pretty bullish here, guys. And also SUI was seeing some very nice bull divs on certain time frames, intermediate time frames. But I will cover SUI a little bit more in depth, just to say I think SUI is going to pump up to 359 at least to grab the liquidity of these lower highs into our golden pocket at 359.6-ish. But it might even come up to our next major level of resistance up here. Naked weekly point of control, macro value area high. Now that macro value area high has shifted down a little bit, so we will have to re-look at that. Okay. Cow, yeah, I'll go through Cow right now. I just want to see, is Andy still in here? I just appreciate Andy for coming in. A beer, good to see you, man. Thank you for joining. Hey, Andy, I don't know if you're open to it, but I would love to do a collab with you sometime, man. You are awesome at TA, and I just would like to get our brains together and see, you know, because you're a lot more into Elliott Waves than I am. I do follow Elliott Waves, but it's not my main source of TA, I guess you would say, or my main avenue of doing TA. I like pitchforks, I like channels, of course, Fibonacci levels, stuff like that. But I actually have learned a lot of Elliott Waves from you, from watching you, and from watching Coons, of course. But okay, yeah, Abir, nice to see you, man. And let's go into Cow. Let's see, is it on Coinbase? Yep. All right. Guys, give me just a second here. I've got to go get some water. Okay, guys, I am back. So let's mark out some levels real quick. Let's actually zoom out to the monthly. We have a monthly close that we need to pay attention to just above us. That's going to be a monthly level. Was that weekly hit? It looks like that weekly was maybe just, okay, yeah, it was hit. So weekly, good. Honestly, man, there's not much else here. It looks like a pretty new coin, or newer coin. Let's pull a pitchfork from this low. So those of you that were asking about pitchforks, you want to generally go from swing positions, because we were in this downtrend for a long time, and now we're starting to break market structure. So actually, let me just show you that real quick. We were in this downtrend, trending, making higher lows, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. But we had a key on the daily time frame, a key lower high that we needed to break here. You know, we came up to it, didn't quite get there, you know, found a higher low, broke above it, and then back tested it as support. So that is your key market structure shift, changing your bias from a bearish bias on the daily time frame to now starting to be in a bullish bias on the daily time frame. Very, very key to learn that and learn to when to spot a change, a shift in trend. Now we shifted the trend bullishly, we back tested that trend, we continued new highs. Okay, now that we know that the trend is shifting bullish, we can pull a pitchfork from the lows of the bear trend to our first major highs, down to our first major lows. Now, I'm going to turn this into a skiff pitchfork, because I don't expect this trend to be super Yeah, it looks pretty good here. I don't expect it to be a super big bullish trend to the upside. It could be, actually. This could be a wave one here. I actually see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we could see our correction down to, let's see if it came to a golden pocket. Let me get rid of these brushes here. Okay, and let's turn that off log scale. Okay, so maybe it was our 786. Oftentimes, altcoins do retrace a little bit farther. Yeah, so your 786, we wicked past the 786 a little bit, but you came down to your 786, which is still an acceptable wave 2 retrace. And so this could be the start of a bigger wave 1, a wave 2, and we could get that big wave 3 pushing up to maybe our macro golden pocket. Let's do this. And let's turn on golden pocket, but let's also turn it on log scale, because we are on the log chart, and that is more than a 30% dump to the downside. If this dump here is more than 30% to the downside, you generally do want to click your fib to based off log scale. So it was an 84% dump to the downside. So now you can see our macro log golden pocket is going to be coming in, and let's check this pitchfork. Let's actually make this a modified skip. Let's see how well this works as a modifying. Actually, it does look better too. So the way to determine also if a pitchfork, which pitchfork to use, is based off past price action. You can see here we rejected from the top of the band, came down, rejected from the bottom of the band, lost the midline, back tested the midline, came down to the bottom. Yes, your pivots are pulled off that, so of course it's going to be the bottom. But then you can see how well it's been respected here. Rejected the top of the band, chopped around and formed a range within the band, which often happens within these bands. Form a little bit of a range in here, broke above it. So now we could probably break up to that midline or around that midline. The monthly is going to be close by. And then you can see our macro log golden pocket is going to be aligning with the top of the pitchfork. So very nice confluence there. So we could see a wave 1, a wave 2. Our wave 3 could bring us all the way to the top of the pitchfork and our macro golden pocket. We could see a retrace in a wave 4 and then a continuation in a wave 5, maybe up to the 786. Well, that's pure speculation right now. We do not have enough data to understand what's happening here, but so far this looks pretty parabolic, and this could continue in a parabolic motion. We do have a key daily level that is going to be resting right in here. And we have another key daily that's going to be resting up here. I'll just mark it out for now. We can hide it if the charts get too messy. Okay, and then, so for now I'm going to hide that, but we'll leave it on the chart. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this. Just know you could come up to 60 to 64 cents. 60 to 64 cents is going to be a major target. Let's come in here and let's turn on our points of control, but we want to look at our naked monthly points of control. Okay, no fresh naked monthlies except for way up here, you know, at 69 cents. Very good number, 69. All right, let's go to our naked weeklies. All right, I do like that naked weekly right there because there's also liquidity right into it. Let's mark that out. Naked weekly, not naked monthly, naked weekly. Okay, and then we do have a naked weekly. This is this week's price action. So since this week hasn't closed, we're not going to mark that out yet, but we will mark out the naked weekly below us, because if we do start to drop, that is going to be a support level we need to be paying attention to. Why do I keep doing that? Okay, and then of course we could zoom in and look at your naked dailies as well. Honestly, okay, this is going to be important. This naked daily right near the monthly and right near the midline. This naked daily here. Of course, we do have one before then, but we'll leave that off the chart for now, and let's just now look at some other levels. We'll pull our fib from the highs of this drop to the lows of this drop on the daily time frame, and look at that's where your golden pocket's coming in as well. So next major resistance here, confluence, golden pocket, naked monthly point of, or monthly level, naked daily point of control, channel midline right here. That box is your next major target, where I would be looking to, if you're long, I would at least be looking to take a partial profit in this general area. possibly even looking for a little bit of a short. Like if we bust up there, grab this liquidity of this lower high into this box of resistance, we might see a retrace, and it, you know, we'll look at it once it gets there, and then you could see a push. Also, we could be looking at this as a 1 2 1 2. This could be your 3, then you get a 4 5 4 5, maybe up to that daily. We'll have to look at that Elliott structure once it gets there. Oh, are we getting close to 114? Hold on, guys. Not quite. We haven't hit any alerts. I have alerts on, guys. Don't worry. But yeah, so this level of resistance between 37 and 38 cents is the next level I'd be watching for cow to pump up to. And then if we get above that, let's go ahead and I'll get rid of that now to clean up the chart. We have our macro golden pocket, and then honestly, I would be looking at like the daily level at 42 cents, but there's not a lot of else here. Let's go here, and we can look at a volume profile of this sideways price action. Yeah, your value area high is right up there as well. So you guys can see, once again, we're above the point of control. You can see the point of control acted as resistance a couple times. We broke above it with a nice volume imbalance candle, came back, back tested the band, flipped a band to support. So our highest probability is to work our way up to 37 to 38 cents. And your value area high is right up there as well. I mean, it's just looks like we're pushing up there. Honestly, this looks pretty good to me. Now we are on the verge of developing some 4-hour bear divs here. Higher highs in the price action. If we make a higher high, lower highs here. But money flow does look good here. Let's zoom out to the daily and let's look at the daily. Money flow's just crossing over into the green, and it looks really strong on NAMI as well. I think overall cow is going to continue up to that 37, 38 cents. That doesn't mean that we won't see small pullbacks in here, guys. It's not going to do this. It's gonna ebb and flow, wave. But overall, the trend is up, and overall, we have strength in the trend, and I do think that cow will continue pushing up to our next major levels. Yeah, money flow looks very strong, very strong. I think we are pushing up to 38 cents. So now that we're in a bullish trending day, if we do drop to the VWAP could be a good scalp long, and you could even hold it all the way up to that area. But remember, if you're scalping the VWAP, you are playing it first as a scalp. You have to have your risk management in perspective. So, you know, it doesn't make very much sense to look for a long at the VWAP, come up to this target, and your stop is going to go below this low here. I mean, that is still a 2.6 risk to reward ratio, so it's a decent enough trade, but my stop definitely wouldn't be going below this low. I mean, you could even put it below this low here. You know, that's a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. That's a good trade right there. But I would actually be waiting for, what I would personally be waiting for is, as we're coming down to that VWAP, I would wait for a little bit of a bounce there, and then like I would put my stop below wherever that, I would long up a little bit above the VWAP, and my stop would go below wherever that was, and that's where I'd be targeting, and that's a much better risk reward ratio. So that is kind of what I would be looking at if I was going to trade that. But it does look like, honestly, it does look like we're going to continue up to that 37, 38 cent area. Point of control, I mean, value area high, pitchfork midline, naked daily point of control, monthly level, all in here. I'd say 37.5 to like 38.7. Okay, SUI, I'll go into SUI because someone asked about SUI, but let me just check here. Yeah, guys, please do, if you are just tuned into me only and you've never heard of Andy, please go check out Andy's channel, Andy Bitcoin Consensus. He's a really, really good trader. He is live almost every day. He's a real consistent trader, very amazing, and I just appreciate him, and I appreciate so many of the crypto community. You know, I got started running this channel from Jason Casper. I was part of Jason Casper's Discord for 5+ years. Love the guy to death. He's one of my favorite traders, but also one of my favorite people in the world. He's just a really good guy. I wouldn't have this channel if he didn't encourage me to start it, because I was always a trader and decent at trading, but I just suck at like speaking. I suck at the whole tech part of this stuff, running a YouTube channel, and he was the one who really encouraged me to get this going. So Jason, if you're listening, thank you. Okay, so let's see here. Can you check RVN? Yeah, RVN, so SUI and RVN. Okay, real quick, let's go on to SUI here. SUI, I kind of covered this already, but SUI is pumping pretty hard right now, and I do think SUI is going to continue up to grab the liquidity at 359.6-ish. SUI is breaking out of this ascending channel to the upside. We're seeing strength. Money flow looks really good here. No bear divs on the 4-hour. No bear divs. Let's go to the 12-hour. 12-hour money flows rising to the upside here. I mean, all indications are that we're going to continue up to this golden pocket. This golden pocket was pulled from here to here. Golden pockets there. Just above that, we have the value area high, and then above that, we have this box here between, let's just click on the box. 382 to 391. But I do think that it's very possible that we could be in a much bigger impulse to the upside, with this being a wave 1, this being a wave 2 retrace to your golden pocket, and we could be seeing a big wave 3. Actually, let's look at our targets for that wave 3. So you can take your trend-based Fibonacci extinction, lows of 1, highs of 1, lows of 2. And let's turn on our 1.618. I mean, you could pump to $10. That's, I would say you could pump to $6 in a wave 3. Now that's a pretty extreme case, but it is possible that is going to be your big wave 3 here. Now on lower time frames, it does look like we could have like a multiple 1-2 here, like a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. This could be your wave 3, and then you could see a 4-5, 4-5, 4-5 to come up higher. But I would be just looking at your next level to look for at least a partial TP, or to look for a bit of a rejection, is this internal high liquidity grab into the golden pocket. If we break that, you know, you do have your value area high that's just above as well. But let's look at the 786 is going to be in our box here, and that box is going to be a resistance because we had a range that was forming up here. This range point of control is in there. We have the range point of control. We have a naked weekly point of control. Now our macro value area high has shifted down a little bit. It's not in there, but we also had a golden pocket. Now that golden pocket, of course, has changed. It's no longer a golden pocket. It's going to be a 786 now because we did make new lows. So that is going to be 786. That box has been in my chart for a long time. That's why it's there. Let's see here. Let's look at our levels. Naked monthly. We have a naked monthly point of control up there. Let's do this. Instead of macro value area high, we're going to put in a naked monthly POC. Okay, do we have naked weeklies up there? Of course, naked weeklies right on top of that 786. So watch that 386 level. Naked dailies. Of course, we do have a naked daily into our golden pocket as well, guys, at 359. So be aware of that. That golden pocket that I just deleted, the SFP into a naked daily and a golden pocket. So 359 is definitely your next level of resistance. Monthlies, no monthlies. Weeklies, no weeklies. Dailies, no dailies, except I do believe we have one that I didn't mark out up here. Do we? No, we don't have any dailies up here. Okay. Wow. And then we have a daily coming up. Okay, look at, guys, this is going to be our levels here. So if we pull that fib from the highs to the lows, we turn on our golden pocket. Golden pocket is going to be right in that area. We have a daily right underneath it, and then we have our naked daily point of control there. I know that looks like shit on the chart right now, but it's this area, this general area here. And then, of course, next up is this guy here. The value area high you do have to pay attention to because it's a macro range, and we oftentimes reject at the first try on a value area high. So I will say that. But it looks good. I mean, like, look at this daily candle. Very, very impulsive, nice looking candle. Imbalanced volume push to the upside. I do think overall SUI is going to continue at least up to 359. I did long SUI earlier too. A couple days ago on one of my smaller accounts. I longed when we broke above this anchored VWAP and back tested it in this general area. I longed after I saw that because, I mean, like, look at this money flow on the hourly. Look at this guy. Now we are developing bear divs, higher highs, lower highs, bear divs here. Money flow starting to top out here, but we're kind of rejecting in the middle of nowhere. So I would expect to form another drive of bear div what you're going to want to see is maybe a small retrace here and then another push up. You'll get those triple drive of bear div, and by then you want to see money flow consistently draining out on the hourly as you're coming up into that 358, 359 area. Okay, RVN will cover. I guess we'll go on Binance. Looks like I have covered this in the past. Oh gosh, this chart looks horrible. Okay, we broke out of this descending channel. We can get rid of this descending channel. Gosh, we rejected from this box up here, so that looks good. That was your golden pocket area. Let's just wipe all this real quick, and we will look at it relatively fresh here. Of course, we're not going to wipe the pitchfork yet. All right, so we've been in a bearish trend on RVN. You know, we had our nice bearish trend. We've been trending down. You can see the lower band was holding a support. Tried to get a break out of it, but fell back in it. Came down to the midline. Midline held. Tried to get above it again. Rejected. Came down to the midline again. Held it. Pushed up to the top. Tried a third time to get above it. Because this is low liquidity, you're going to see these big pushes with some wicks left behind. But overall, our bearish trend is continuing. So there is a possibility we could start to drop again and even come down to the lower part. Money flow is leaving on the daily time frame. That is to be expected there. We're starting to form a bottom, though. I would say we are starting to form a bottom. I would even pull it from this guy here over. That is kind of your bottoming range. Yeah, wicked up to value area high, but overall rejected on the weekly. Your POC, you can see you got back inside your volume profile. Back tested its support, came up, made a new high, back tested its support again, came up to POC. Now let's mark out some levels here. Let me just hide that range for a second. We got a weekly here, and we have a weekly down below that's going to be important. All right, let's check out our monthly real quick. Okay, monthly is down below, but that weekly is right before there, so I'm not going to mark out that monthly. This monthly is where we rejected. You can see we rejected this monthly. Okay, and so that's already been tapped, and we have a monthly way up here. Might as well mark it out. Daily, man. All right, we'll just focus on this guy here. I don't like the way this trades. Like, if you're looking at trading this, these wicks like this, and I would just say there's better assets to trade, more safer assets that are going to respect like the overall TA better. So just be aware of that. Not nonsense. I think it was you that asked about that. Just be aware of that. But I mean, if you're into this for spot, you know, that's actually, let's zoom out here. If you're into this for spot, it doesn't look the worst here. You are leaving on the daily time frame, and your bearish trend is still intact here, so be careful. On the weekly time frame, excuse me, on the weekly time frame. And then let's look at our daily time frame. Daily time frame, you're bottoming out here, but you did not have bull divs. No bull divs on the daily. And if that was with us having money flow leaving on the weekly and no bull divs on the daily, you'd want to really come down and get below those lows to make some bull divs here. Money flow is still looking pretty bad on the daily. It looks like it could start to curve out again here. Now on Nami is showing some bull divs very locally. Wait, oh, here. Bull divs, and your money flows curving up here. So you could get a bit of a move, a bit of a push up, but overall you could do this, you know, push up to your area. Let's pull a Fibonacci from our lows to our highs. Golden pocket. Let's turn that on log. Okay, you've broken the golden pocket. Let's turn on our 786. 786 is going to be below us near that weekly level. So that would be a level of support you could be looking at. You're kind of in your golden pocket area now, but you can see you've broken it and spent many days underneath it. So honestly, that doesn't look good. Let's just click these off. This guy here, and you do have this imbalance in here too. You can see this wick here, big daily fair value gap in here down to that 786. So you could, if you start to fall through this fair value gap, you're probably going to get sucked down to your 786 weekly. All right. We have a daily up here at the top of this candle, and then a daily up here. You're bouncing from your POC, general POC of this bottoming daily range. And actually we could pull this, like, let's do that. Yeah, you're still bouncing from the POC, right about to bounce from the POC. But now that we're back inside this lower volume profile, we could do this. Bounce from the POC only to come up to your value area low, reject, and then continue down to your 786 weekly. And we could chop in here for a bit too until the band aligns with the value area high. And then dump. Or, you know, it's a little bit of a wick and a fake out of the value area high and dump. Just be aware of that. Four hour is looking pretty nice though. So here's the thing, as far as a local move up, you can see down here on the 4 hour chart very, very nicely. Rounding bottom, lower lows in the price action, rounding higher highs in the momentum waves, money flow overall curving to the upside. So you have bull divs on momentum waves, bull divs on money flow coming into your prior POC, and you're starting to break market structure, at least very, very locally. You've broken this lower high here, but I would really want to break this guy here. If you break this 4 hour market structure lower high, then you could see a bigger push up. So once again, that's going to be right around your value area high. So if you reject from that, then I would expect to keep continuing down to fill this. You know, but if you can get above that, break above that, you know, you'd probably see a push up to the daily. But I'd honestly be looking for a push up to the top of the upper band here. Let's do some Fibonacci stuff. I'm just going to pull it from this wick. I'm not going to pay attention to that wick there. Okay, golden pocket. And I'm sure... Okay, that's a 48% dump. Yeah, okay, your log golden pocket's going to be coming in around your weekly. So that is going to be a key level of resistance, that 19-cent area. I'm sure there's going to be, let's do this. Okay, now you do this month, it's this month, so it's not confirmed yet, and we're only 10 days into the month, but your monthly point of control is where that daily level is. So because there's a high amount of volume there, you could reject from this daily. Actually, no, that's last month's. Excuse me. This is this month's. So you do have a fresh, naked monthly point of control at your daily level. That's going to be your first very local resistance. Actually, I won't say first. Your first local resistance is going to be that value area high and that internal lower high right there. But that, and let me make sure that's on there. That guy there, 14 cents, 14.4 to 14.5 is going to be a pretty key level of resistance there. You have your lower highs here that you could liquidity grab those into a naked monthly and a daily level. Okay, naked weekly here. Yeah, and you have a naked daily close by there as well. So I would say, kind of sucks, but this area will have to mark out. I would say this area is a support area. But if you break that, you're probably coming down to the midline at 9 cents. And then of course your first major resistance is that guy. This Fibonacci, let's do this, and let's go turn on our 382. Yeah, your 382 is going to be in this box, and in a strong trend, your 382 acts as support or resistance. So in this box, you have a naked weekly, naked daily POC, and then your 382, and your 382 will reject you if this downtrend is going to continue. This box is going to be a weekly golden pocket. And then 786 weekly here. Now this is a naked monthly point of control and a daily. So those are kind of your key levels to be watching. That 14.4 to 14.5. Of course, you could reject a little bit before that, hitting into the band. You can see last time we hit into it, we kind of rejected. Honestly, nonsense. I don't know what you're looking at trading this. There's much better assets to trade out there. Much more respected TA. I understand it's near lows, so that's why you're probably looking at it. But yeah, I mean, to each their own, you know. And if you're looking at buying that spot, it's not the worst, but it does have a weekly money flow coming out and no bull divs on the daily. Oh, is Jason in here? Let's see. Subscribe. Happened. It was listed on a new exchange. Okay. Yeah, use cap blocks, right? If it's a funny joke, Mark Dutch, because I would stream in Jason's Discord and I would have to hold down the caps lock button in order to speak because it was like a push to talk. And so every time I would text afterwards, it would be in all cap locks, and I'd forget to take it off until afterwards. Okay, guys, I do need to leave in 10 minutes. Let's check Bitcoin out real quick here. Yeah, it's just starting to fade a little bit here. What is this? Oh, that was the VWAP one. Shoot. I'm going to put that back on there. Yeah, but we are starting to consolidate here. Little consolidation pattern, little triangle or whatever you want to call it. And remember, triangles are continuation patterns. Symmetrical triangles are continuation consolidation patterns. So it looks like we're just consolidating here. Money flow still looks pretty healthy. You might see a fake out of this to the downside. Grab those range lows, like I said, and then you could push up to that 114.3, 114.4. It's going to be coming in, guys, today. If we hit it today, in the next few hours, it's going to be about, and let me zoom out here because that's, no, I meant 1 hour. It's going to be actually like 114.3 to 114.4-ish, 450-ish. Because if we're probably not going to come up, and it actually could happen if we break out of this triangle. We could push up there real quickly, but it's probably going to happen in a couple hours. So if you're looking between 114.3 and 114.4 up here, and it might wick past it a little bit, guys. Usually it wicks past it a little bit and then closes the candle body. So I would say, you know, 114.3 to 114.5 is an area where we could stall out today. And the way that money flow looks on some higher time frames, though, we might do this, come all the way back down to the all-time high, and then start to break it up. We'll have to see, but this midline, I can't stress enough how important high time frame that midline is. You know, that's pulled from your prior bull market. And yes, look at last time you see a little bit of wicks above it and below it, you know, but overall, this midline has been a very, very important midline, and there's absolutely a possibility that we could reject from it again. You know, you could see here a little bit of wicks past it, but the midline has historically acted as resistance, especially near all-time highs. This was all-time high for Bitcoin back then. Hit, wick, drop, right? For 2024. 2025, we busted above it. It was trying to hold the support, but then, you know, multiple times it acted as resistance, dropped. Now, again, tried to get above it, couldn't, dropped. So just be aware that it might not be like to the exact dollar. It's going to be, because it's such a high time frame resistance, but this general area is the area where we could expect a rejection. And even sometimes it does front run it. This could have been it. We could start dropping from now. Doesn't look like it though, especially off the lower time frames. What we're seeing on lower time frames, it doesn't look like it. Money flow's rising pretty rapidly here. We just got a green dot on the 15-minute. I think that it's going to continue a little bit higher, and it could break through this. Guys, if we do this on lower time frames, like today or tonight, break through this, back test it, and then on like 1 hour chart, 2 hour chart, then we're going up to that 116K, and we might just spike up to 121. Okay. Is it good to scalp long, Sui? Here's the thing about a scalp long. Even if you think it's going higher to 359, what are you if you're going to be a long-term trader, risk management is your most important thing to pay attention to. Most important to me. So if you're going to long this, look at what you're doing right now. You're going to enter long right here where it's at. Now your stop is going to go below the low because it's going to be breaking structure. So it invalidate your plan for going longer. So you'd have to put your stop below the most local low. But your TP is only right up here where you're at. That's a 0.77 risk to reward ratio. So you're risking $1 to make 77 cents per dollar. You want this to be like a 2.5 to 3 asymmetric risk to reward. So it just doesn't make sense to do that. Now, if you're going to zoom in and look very, very low time frame, you could say, all right, you know what? Money flow looks pretty good. We're not really seeing any continuation. I'm just going to attempt a long here, and I'm going to put my stop below this low, and I'm going to shoot for this area here. That's a 4.95, but then it's a very, very risky trade because you're longing, and all you need to drop is a little bit. You're longing the top of a major pump here. So it just doesn't make sense if you're not already in. The risk management is not really in play to look for a long from here. Now, say we do this. Say we are consolidating here for a bit. We break this down, back test that little low, and then come down to the BWAP and these range highs, right? We formed a range in here. So you have your range highs in here. Let me make that better. You have your general range highs in here, and your VWAP is going to be close by. Your anchor VWAP is going to be close by. So now you're going to pull back to this general area. Heck yeah, I'm going to look for a long here. I'm going to look for a long here. I'm going to put my stop below those range lows, and I'm going to shoot for this. 5-to-1 risk reward ratio. That's a much better scalp to look for. The thing is, Lu Dong, if you want to be a long-term trader, you even if you're super convicted, like I'm pretty convicted that this is going to keep pushing up here, but even no matter how convicted I am, if you're not using proper risk management, the one time you're wrong, you're going to maybe lose 5-10% of your portfolio, 20%, or even get liquidated if you're on super high leverage, and you're going to ruin all your months of hard work you've been doing. So trading is about consistent slow profits and taking trades that make sense as far as risk reward ratio goes. We've already missed the long for today, kind of. And so now you have to be patient on SUI. Even if you think it's going to go higher, you have to kind of be patient here. Yeah, I would say you gotta wait now, man. Like you do you, of course. But I would say I wouldn't take a long right now here. One thing that we haven't done since we've broken out of this channel today, we have not we already had our back test of the VWAP, it looks like, kind of right in this area. Not quite. But we're kind of far away from the VWAP, and we are seeing those 1 hour bear divs here. Lower lows, higher highs here, right? Lower highs, higher highs, excuse me. And so these 1 hour bear divs might give you a little bit of a retrace, and look for that retrace to the VWAP. And if the VWAP, if you start to bounce from the VWAP, because we're in a trending day, and look at in trending markets, the VWAP will generally act as support. So if you drop to that VWAP, absolutely you could look for long from the VWAP to keep pushing up here. That's what I would do personally. If I was super bullish on this, super convicted, and not already in a position here, that's what I would be. That's what I personally would be waiting for. And nonsense, absolutely. Virtual protocol. I've got like 3 minutes until let me look at virtual protocol. What is the ticker symbol for virtual? Doge. Ooh, Dogecoin. Let me look at something else here. All right. Yeah, Dogecoin tried to break above this pitchfork, tried to hold it as support for a few weeks, dumped back within it, and dumped to the lower band just like Bitcoin did. Just like Bitcoin did. Now we are starting to break out. So we do have a weekly level down there. I'm not going to mark that. I'm just going to cover this real quickly here because I got to go, guys. But Doge is holding the lower band of support, and now we're starting to push parabolic here. You can see this parabolic curve that's starting to happen. Doge can probably run up to this midline here. And if we take a Fibonacci from our last big daily high to our daily low, yeah, look at where that golden pocket is. So our golden pocket, our non-log golden pocket, is going to be coming in right around that midline. And guess what else is there? Your internal high liquidity grab. The liquidity grab. Anytime you see an SFP into a golden pocket, pay attention to that. So it's absolutely possible that Doge runs up to 21.8. 21.5 to 21.8. Actually, I think it's probable that it happens. Now, it's not going to happen in one day. You're not going to see one big daily candle that pushes up there. It's going to, even if we're going parabolic like we are now, you're going to see another daily candle and another daily candle and another daily candle. It's going to take a week or so, but it's possible over the next week we push up to 21 to 22 cents-ish. And just like we're starting to see multiple green candles in a row, so this uptrend is starting to gain momentum here. But I would look for small red candles or at least doji candles along this pullback. You're probably not going to continue in that aggressive of a trend to the upside. I mean, like, look how aggressive this is getting here. I would even look at pulling a channel. This is your overall trend here, okay? So if, there you go. So you might do this. You might look at, you rejected midline, perfect. You chopped around the midline here. So you might do this, come up to the here, reject that, drop down here, come up, maybe drop it, back test it, come down here. And then that's going to be your next few days, is doing something like this. So Doge does look like it's going to pump up to here though. It does look like that. I would look at that. Okay. Virtual protocol. I don't know. And guys, I'm just going to cover this very, very briefly because I do have to go. Well, this looks nice. Here, you had a big, long daily downtrend here. And then you saw a nice break of structure and an impulse here. That definitely looks corrective here. And you could start to break this up and form a bigger wave to the upside. Let's look at your 382, and then we're going to put that based off log scale. Yeah, you're bouncing from your 382. Look at that. You're bouncing from your 382, and you grab the liquidity of your range lows, your dead cat bounce lows down here. Perfect setup. Now that to me tells me that this is bullish. Not only are you bouncing from the 382, but you're grabbing the liquidity down here, and now you're starting to push up. So you're probably going to push up at least to the golden pocket. Golden pocket also has a daily level right there. You can see that candle's a doji, but it is green. That doji candle there, green, so that's a daily level. So there's a potential you could push up to 208 to 212 with your 211 being your daily. Now you haven't quite broken this. This looks like it's kind of squeezing in a little bit of a triangle here. And it does look like it's going to break to the upside. You did get a green dot on the daily here. 4-hour chart. Let's do this. Yeah, nice liquidity grab into 382 there. That tells me it's bullish. That tells me my bias is now for upside because we're bouncing from your 382. Strong trend. So we could be about to see a breakout up. You're at your midline now. You could pull back from your midline. Pull back a little bit. 4-hour is no bear divs. Let's see, 2-hour. Yeah, we're developing some bear divs on the 2-hour here. Money flow looks pretty good though. I would say you might reject from this midline. If you get above this midline, it's going to continue. But yeah, you're seeing your divs here. Money flow's topping out now. Bear divs here. So you might get a small pullback from this midline. And if you're looking at where you could bounce, I would just go from this last pivot to this high. Golden pocket. Yeah, golden pocket. And then you could also just pull this range that you're in of the channel. All the price action within the channel, right? Actually, I would even include the bottom down here. All the price action within the channel. Is it not going to give it to me? Oh, maybe it's because it's not on an exchange. Okay, let's pull that price action. That we're above the value area high though. So actually, even if we reject from this midline, watch for a bounce from the value area high and then a break of the midline and a continuation here. Because money flow doesn't look the worst. It's just crossing over into the green here. A lot of coins look pretty bullish right now. What was the coin that we just covered earlier? It looked really bullish. ICP looks bullish, but oh man, there was another one that we covered that was really bullish. Yeah, I don't know. Guys, I do have to go, though. I'm sorry. I do see a couple of guys just asked about Solana. You know, Solana. Solana looks like it's going to come up to 164, guys. We broke the value area high of our range. We back tested the value area high earlier today, held it as support. And above us, we have the liquidity grab of our last wick into our lower high golden pocket at 164.1 to 166. So I think Solana's at least going to come up to 164.1. And I'm long on Solana, by the way. I am long on Solana from down here. And I do think that it could continue pushing higher, but because Bitcoin's so close to that 114.5 resistance, I think Solana might see a rejection from here. And that is your macro golden pocket from this high down to this low down here. So just be aware, I think Solana is going to continue higher to 164, but I have a take profit there. I have 75% take profit at 164. And that's about it, guys. I will stream tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys want to look at some more altcoins, I'd be happy to look at some more altcoins. So thank you guys for joining, and I will see you tomorrow.